Welcome, this is the Culture Otaku. Take a seat, and let's talk about some anime. Today, I want to discuss one of my childhood favorite anime, that being Zatch Bell. You know, it's one of your standard shonen, but this one, it's a battle royale shonen. And I'm going to describe, the scene of me watching the first minute to 2 minutes of the episode that really was impactful and really drew me in. So it's the spring of 2005, probably around March, because that's when the show, I believe, first aired, if I'm not mistaken. And it's probably one of the first anime I'm watching coming to the US via Toonami on a Saturday evening with two of my older brothers. You're introduced to this yellow-haired boy with big eyes and an oversized blue shirt, almost to the point of it being a dress, and honestly thinking back, it probably was a dress hanging from the feet of an eagle over an ocean. Now, what's interesting is he's not afraid, because he's actually giving the eagle directions and says we're almost there, while the screen pans over looking at a city. Now, out of the ocean jumps a yellowfin tuna, and Zatch spots it and releases from the eagle and somewhat flies or glides and catches the tuna. The screen then switches over to another protagonist, being Kyo, getting lip from his mom. And she says to him, like, yo, you gotta get ready for school. And he's like, what's the point? I'm smarter than all of the students in my junior high, and probably even the teacher. And she's like, this is probably why you're bullied, because you're a smartass and you think that you're better than everybody else. Now, she closes the door, walks downstairs, and out of the blue, Zatch Bell shows up at Kyo's bedroom window. And, mind you, Zatch is still hanging from the eagle's feet, but now he's half naked, and the tuna from earlier is strapped to his back, flopping around by a rope. And Kyo's like, bro, what is going on? So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna just go back to sleep. I'm probably too tired. He lays down, rolls over, and Zatch is like, don't ignore me, and literally busts through the window glass with the eagle, and his room is wrecked. And he's like, you're Professor Takamini's son, Kyo Takamini. Kyo's like, yo, how do you know me? And Zatch goes to his shirt, rummages, and pulls out a letter that's addressed from Kyo's father and gives it to him. Now, in the letter, it describes that his father found Zatch just laying in the grass in the opening of London, just unconscious and with a red book next to him. And he says that Zatch forgot his past and has no idea how he got to Earth. Now, the red book is possibly a key to his past, and I can't decipher it. So, I'd like you, Kyo, to take care of Zatch and try to decipher the book, because you're really intelligent. Now, Kyo isn't having it, so he goes to punch Zatch in the face, and the book lights up, and Zatch literally shoots lightning out of his mouth. Now this wrecks Kyo's entire room, and he's like, what happened? Now, what I just described was about the first 3 minutes of the show, so this really catches someone's eye, especially at the age of 6, so it already intrigued me. Now, like I said earlier, it was a shonen. Zatch Bell is a shonen, but it's in a battle royale. So, essentially the premise is 100 Momotos from the Momoto world, the demon world in English, I believe, were teleported and transferred to Earth to battle out to see who will become the Demon King. Now, the thing is, each Momoto has to partner with a human to be able to read their book. So apparently the book that's with them is a spell book that allows them to bring out their innate powers. Zatch's essentially is lightning based, and later in the story as it progresses, not only can he shoot lightning out of his mouth, but he can essentially bring about this dragon lightning god called Boa. And honestly, the animation of Boa is so dope, like I can't do it justice, talking about it. I would recommend, looking up pictures of him, because it is honestly just dope. Like, just think, a lightning dragon god. But essentially, throughout the series, Kyo and Zatch, They make friendships. This story is honestly a lot about, building friendships, courage, and emotion. A lot of the development of each Momoto's powers essentially comes from emotion. Now, it doesn't really matter what particular emotion in general, but certain emotions do bring about a certain power, right? So, an emotion of trying to protect somebody, right? Of care will bring about possibly a defensive spell, like a shield or something like that. And a spell of, anger and wrath may really bring out a spell to harm. So it depends on the user and the Momoto, because Momotos can be innately bad. Not all Momotos are good. And generally, you'll see the Momotos partner with someone that goes along with their personality, but that doesn't always happen. There's, I believe, a few characters that we actually see where the Momoto and the person behind them don't necessarily match up. They have different goals, but the Momoto is abusive in a way, and they force their reader to essentially battle when they really just want to do good. So it's an interesting dynamic to see where, like, not everybody that's evil is evil through and through. There's some dimension to it. Of course, it being a shonen, Kyo and Zatch do develop partnerships with other Momotos, and one of them and their partner, Kyo, has, there's like hints towards a love interest, but in the anime and the manga we never see this to fruition. But I just want to talk about that, like, that is there, for some people that do like that kind of love interest dynamic within a story. Now, I want to talk about some of the humor that is in Zatch Bell, because I would say Zatch Bell is fairly humorous, and more of the humor I kind of notice as an adult now, because there's some scenes that as a kid you're really not gonna get. Like one moment in one of the episodes, one of the characters breaks out singing about big tits, right? And it's honestly hysterical. Like, how did they get away with this? But since it's marketed towards like a shonen and stuff, kids don't really pick up on it. So that's just one of the moments, especially with like adult themes, that's like, bro, this is funny. Now, one of the other moments, like I discussed earlier in the podcast, with Zatch just busting through the window, just little subtle moments. And another one, Zatch and one of his partners, protagonists, they're battling, a villain, but they decide, like, hey, yo, like, have this melon as a peace offering, let's not fight. And the villain, he's like, all right, fine, I'll try it. He starts scarfing down the melon, OD, like hella fast. And then he starts out singing about the melon. And I'm not going to start singing it because I will butcher it or not even serve it justice. But if you go on YouTube and type in berry melon, Zatch Bell, you will see it's like, it's pretty funny, and it's just certain small things like that. The humor it's nice. And then the battles. Let me talk about some of the battles. The animation of these battles, I would say, is pretty dang good, especially like later in the series when Kyo and Zatch develop better spells like Bowserkerga, which summons Boa the Dragon Lightning God. It's really clean, and it just, I don't know, even, some 15 years later, it still looks pretty good. And I would kind of recommend the show to watch now, but at the same time, it's 15 years old, being the early 2000s. Not a lot of people are gonna want to watch that, but if you can get past the, kind of subpar-ish animation, compared to today, and enjoy the story for what it is and the humor, it's a really good show, and of course it's kind of biased because it's one of my favorite childhood animes, but I would say give it a try. One sad thing about the show, though, is because it never fully completed, essentially, according to the manga, right? There was more canon information that could have been animated, but never was, so it wasn't fully wrapped up. So if you do end up watching it and you want to find the full story, you do have to read the manga. And there's a couple of movies as well that go along with the anime, and they're actually pretty good. They feature really cool fight scenes and kind of side developments to each of the characters, and new outrageous spells that kind of bring together the power of friendship that you see a lot of in modern day animes, especially like Fairy Tail. And I'll probably talk about Fairy Tail like a later podcast, but anyways, Zatch Bell, it was a great anime, especially for me. I would say give it a watch, and I'ma just let the music play. Until next time, I'll catch y'all later. This is the Culture Otaku. Peace.